All right, here we go. So one of our 5 factors of health is connecting. Connect. Because I love this.
But please say it again, please.
Because I love it. So our 5 factors of health, right? Like this is the way we kind of like check people if they're having issues. Like, oh man, I'm not losing weight.
Like a plateau kind
yeah,
of.
exactly.
Like there's something you have to tweak.
So you go and you go. All right, we're gonna check your eating, your sleep, your training, the way you think, and who do we connect with.
Wow.
Those 5 things. That's how at the base of our gym. And one thing when I started at the other gym was because, I wasn't doing anything in those off hours. Like we have a 5:30 a.m. and then it was 9 or 9:30 something like that, and then like 3:30. So like, why is a fitness facility that people need to be here closed for so many hours? I never got that. And I brought it up, hey, listen, I'm going to open up 7, 8, 10, fucking 12, all these classes. And going against the idea of CrossFit is like, if you don't have enough people for those classes, don't open a class. It's like, well, if it's not open, how am I going to have enough people?
How are you going to have it?
You have to wait. And now the mornings are...
Yes, now they're popping, right? So little by little, you always got to give it time. So then, the reason I did that was because of this, connect. Like, I need to connect with more people. And Elton came out, he bought a Groupon. His wife got it for him before you got married, right? Yeah, to get in shape for his wedding. And he almost lost his head.
She said, get in shape.
Let me size less of my students. She's like, you gotta fit in it.
He almost died in the process, but hey, listen, he made it. And the reason or the connect is because I really like connecting with people, no matter what, no matter who they are. I love talking and learning about them and all that stuff. And a month into, literally a month or a month and a half, he started talking with Colin, and then he brought me up to me. He's like, bro, listen, if you ever want to do this alone, let me know. I got you. And I was like, yeah, I think we're good right now, but cool, but I had another person say that to me, and I was like, whatever. So I kind of like brushed it off, but then, obviously caring about people always didn't care, kept pushing, caring about Elton, and the day came where I had to open another gym. And I'm calling, the 5:30 a.m., that was like my core group or whatever, and the moment I got to Elton, he goes, bro, you don't remember I told you this, that if you're gonna open a gym, let's do it? So you thought I was kidding, huh? Like, yeah, 100%. I thought you were like just whatever, saying it to be nice. He said, no, bro, I'm down. How much do you need? I said, 50 grand. Let's do it. Like that. I was like, holy shit.
So the 50 wasn't really 50 though, right?
It never is, bro.
It was not.
It was
50.
a dividend over what the actual number was.
Yeah, and man, so whatever, we know, he's like, what are your thoughts? What are you doing? And we started actually talking about this, and I was like, holy shit, I can't believe it. And that came from a connection, right? Like we brought that connecting with the right people and hanging around good people that are gonna do this. And yeah, so then the whatever, we closed with the contracts, did everything, we talked about everything really good. And yeah, within, when did I talk to I talked to him exactly a year ago from my birthday. My birthday happened, we were moving to Tennessee. Natalie's mom got diagnosed with cancer. I called Elton the next day, and that's when everything took off. Like it was literally done in a matter of 2 days. And yeah, and then October 1st we opened the gym officially, and here we are. This just like, this is the man. If it was, if
well,
it wouldn't have happened.
It's not me only, so I'll
exactly. So then I wanted to ask you from there, first of all, what made you do that? Like, come up to me and tell me to open up a gym. And second of all, obviously, like your background in business and your companies and how you were able to offer that, right? Like not anybody can just come and say that.
So let me answer the first question, and I'm going to give a little bit of history inside of it. Remember in a previous conversation I was telling you guys that I observe a lot. I look
Yes.
at people's body language, people's behavior, the way they conduct themselves, the way that they interact with people, the way that they network, their care inside, the attention, everything else that goes along with that. So I had not been at that gym for a long time. I'd rather say that gym because I'm not going to give them any free marketing in this space, right? So, the thing is this, Carlos. There was something about you that you didn't fit into that space, right? You were so much better than everyone else there. I'm not saying that because you're now a business partner of mine, but that's actually why you are a business partner of mine. I'm going to answer the question ultimately. But you didn't fit into that space, right? I looked at you and you had so much more to offer, right? And I remember having a conversation with Carlos and he said he's moving to Tennessee. I said, to do what? To go run another gym. And I couldn't understand. I'm like, but you're leaving a position of being a business partner to moving into a new community to manage somebody else's gym. Like, it didn't make sense to me. But then as the days and the weeks went by, it started making more sense to me that he was willing to forego whatever percentage he had in the business just because he realized at that point that he wasn't a fit himself. Right? It's like what he wanted to do wasn't in line with his business partner's vision. I don't even know if they have one or had one. But he had a vision for where he wanted to go, and you can tell that at each level he was getting met with resistance. And I would see it, and I would observe it, and I would hear it. He would make little small remarks here and there, venting through frustration. And I hear just, being Carlos, who, it's all good. Dude, what's going on? No, everything is fine. And it's kind of like you got to break his barriers down, one by one, then you kind of get to the core. Okay, this is what's happening. So I think one day he really opened up and he had a conversation with us. I'm like, listen, no pressure. If you ever want to do this by yourself, let me know. I don't know anything about CrossFit, but one thing I do know, and this is what I was saying to you folks before, is that it's all about finding and investing in the right people. At the end of the day, look, in life, everybody had a chance taken on them, right? Unless you were born the son of Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates or these millionaires and whatnot, somebody took a chance on everybody at some stage of life. And most people had to earn it. It wasn't handed to them, right? Even myself, I came through the corporate ranks and I started out making $3-4 an hour, but it's all about mindset, right? Which we're going to speak about in a little bit. But to answer the question, Carlos, it's that you were different for great reasons. You weren't aligned with your business partners then. I saw it. Maybe you could not have seen it from the outside. I can even tell you on Saturdays. Like, I can give you examples. I say this with facts. That time I was going 6 days a week. So on Saturdays I would go there and, at the end we'd try to have a little huddles and so on. And Carlos would try to make up me and try to get his points in a while. He basically was shut out. Like, he wouldn't even get a chance to speak. And I sat and looked at this and I said, this is not right. He's a business partner, and even if he isn't, he's running the gym, he's a general manager, he's doing what he has to do. Like, give him the freedom and the space to do what he has to do, So when you actually reached out to me, I said, there we go, 360. The barriers are coming down one by one. And right away I said to you, yes. I said to you, yes, without even consulting my other two business partners, whom, by the way, Ignacio and Pedro, they're my brothers and they're everything to me as well. And we do nothing without each other. And we trust each other so much so that if I say, hey, this is what we're going to do, you can pretty much consider the sign off, and the same goes for them. If they said, hey, Elton, this is what we want to do, yeah, I'm going to bulletproof it. I'm going to shoot it down until they answer every single question, but 99 out of 100 times we're going to do it. So when I reached out, I was like, look, I work out with Carlos. He's an amazing individual. I don't know anything more than that. I trust the guy. I have a great feeling about him. I know nothing about a gym. We don't want to run a gym. We just want to fund it, be the owners of it, help him do it, and let him take this a whole nother level. And the discussions happened pretty quickly after that. I invited Carlos to the office and I said, hey, this is Iggy, this is Pedro, this is Carlos. Let's talk about it. What's the game plan? What do you need? How do we do it? And we did it. And this is the thing too. A lot of people, talk a good talk, but they can't really back the talk up with actions, right? Mm-hmm. And I think even when I told him that, he's like, "Are you serious?" I said, "I'm serious. If I tell you I'm doing it, I give you my word, and that's it." So here we are.
That's how it happened. What is something that you learn in the process of making the gym now? Like
That you didn't only need 50K.
Sugarcoated.
that
No.
is awesome.
No, that was meant to just put a light spin
Yeah.
on things.
That was a very deep first answer.
Yeah, this is new. This is new space for me, obviously. And as I told Carlos coming into this, I'm like, listen, I don't know anything about a gym and running a gym and buying equipment and this and that and all the other things that go along with it. And I'm also accustomed to being in investments that, bring pretty quick returns, right? So the one thing I think I've learned in the entire setup and startup of this gym is understanding that some businesses, you have to be more patient, right? That's just the way it goes. And for it to be successful, this industry, it really has to be built organically around the right people, i.e. yourselves and us and me, right? So I think the one thing is understanding that not every business is going to be rewarding in a quicker time frame, so to speak. Patience is the one thing I think I would take away from this.
I like that.
Yeah.
That is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
That's good.
Say his mind, and the whole family's mind was set. They're going, no matter
Yeah.
what, to Tennessee, but he still would have taken your offer on being a business partner in the gym, but to open it in another state, would you have taken that chance, knowing you don't know anything about that community?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a good question. It's a strange thing you ask that, because I told Carlos we're going to open up 10 of these.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was going to get to that too.
Yeah.
And he said to me, "You're crazy." And I said, "No, I'm not, because for me, if I'm going to go, I'm going big." And he's like, "Dude, after this, I'm going to manage the setup. We can do as many as you want, but I'm going to manage the setup. I don't want to be involved and manage it." No, I said, "But that's not the goal. You obviously, you can't manage 10 gyms."
Yeah.
But the whole thing was to create multiple of these around the same culture, right? Make it, I don't even want to say the LA fitness, but the LA fitness of CrossFit, so to speak. Because it does, to me, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I still think there's opportunity inside of the space if it's done the correct way, So yes.
Yeah. It's a good question, John.
Life in
Good
Tennessee.
question. Now.
Take it
Carlos
over.
made a trip to Tennessee. Literally, Carlos was ready to go. I'm telling you, that things happen for a reason.
It was set. It was literally set. We were
You guys heard the story before, right?
Yeah.
yeah, we're ready to
Yeah.
go. Very, very ready. All right. Next question. Now, fitness wise,
Yeah.
how have you changed your perspective on it, like on fitness and health and everything that ever since you know me until now? How did you think about it before, and how do you think of it now that you've been here at the gym with us?
Man, I freaking love it.
Can't use that word either.
Thank you. So you need to edit that out.
Yeah. Oh.
No free marketing or
No.
But listen, Javi, who's a very, very close friend of mine, he did CrossFit and achieved tremendous results years ago. But the stories that he told me, I actually had no desire to ever do it.
Of CrossFit?
Yeah. The stories that he told me, and the rigors and the this and the that and the strenuousness and the body and so on and so. I mean, if you really listen to people outside, it's a hard door to come through, right?
Until they come through.
Yep.
And then you come in and you get injured on day one, and then you go home and you feel like you're gonna vomit your life away, and it's like, what the hell did I just get myself involved into?
And then you
But-
walk the doors again.
But I'll tell you this, this is like a community that sometimes I say I'm really greedy for punishment, but it's punishment that really, really has a positive overall impact on your health and your body. Because when I compared what I do now to what I was doing, for example, in LA Fitness, I was wasting time.
Yeah.
I would spend 2 hours in LA Fitness and I'll come out and I'm not even sweating.
Yeah.
right?
On your phone all the time.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time on your phone and you go between reps and it's kind of like whatever and this and you look around and look at the TV and you come in like, yeah, be in the gym for 2.5 hours. But what did you really achieve? You know? For me, I'll tell you this, I'm gonna be 44 this year. And this is the best that I've ever felt in my life. I've been saying this to my family, thank God, I've been saying it to my friends that I don't feel when I was at 21, 23, 24, up right through my 30s, I felt as good as I feel now. I mean, I have a lot of work to do, a lot. If I had to put myself on a scale in terms of what I want to achieve in CrossFit, I'll probably say I'm a 2 out of 10 right now. And that's me being modest, I'm being totally honest. I have a lot of work to do. But when it comes to, you know, I could feel the difference. I could feel the difference in my endurance, my stamina. I feel in my strength. I just feel overall better. Like, I've never felt this way. And even before I went to LA Fitness and these things consistently 3-4 times a week or whatever, but I still didn't feel this way. I think it's not only what the body feels. I think what this has done for me is the mental conditioning as well, right? That has come along with this, and you know, the beautiful thing about CrossFit as well, which I like outside of the working out, is the networking. You know, you get in here and it's kind of like everybody's got a little way to contribute, and I'm telling you, I don't know it all. Some of the things I hear, you know, in the mornings when I get in here, before or after, the comments and the things people suggest and do, I'm like, damn, that's a great idea. Yeah. And I would think it's the same, you know, from what I offer. So it's just a really good environment for networking, and overall, like I said, mental and physical health. It's the best I've felt.
So like,
I say it, hands down.
You say it's the best you felt. Now, is
Yeah.
it also because I feel like when you join CrossFit, a lot of things come along with it,
Yeah.
like has like your nutrition change, stuff like that. Like just from being in CrossFit, like maybe you go to LA, you're not really like focusing on nutrition, just going.
Everything else.
You're just going to work
matters
out.
now.
You come to CrossFit, you know, you connect
You're
with
more
people.
conscious
You're like,
of
you know, oh, you know what? Now I need to get my nutrition on
And your
point.
sleep
I
and
need
all
to do
that
this.
stuff.
Yeah, oh, you know what? I need to sleep better, because you
Yeah.
start learning a lot of different things for real.
Yeah. Well, sleep has always been a challenge for me. Over the last 12 years,
Yes,
that's something I'm really battling. I'm really struggling with sleep right now. I mean, and this is before I had kids, and then kids came along. I love my kids to death, but that's added on to it, right? So as we speak, I'm actually planning to do one of these sleep studies or whatever, because I kind of need to get to the bottom of that. But I think, to your point, if I was getting at least 6 hours of solid sleep, just 6, I think I'd be even better, right? Nutrition. How was my sleeping? Put it this way, I go to bed at 10:30 and I'm up by like 6, and during that time I'm probably up 4 or 5 times. Yeah.
Sleep apnea.
No, sleep apnea is like you're breathing. He's like,
It could
Yeah,
be when
it's
you do
not
sleep
me.
tests, you get a lot of underlying problems
Yeah.
without taking them.
Could be
before.
like stress or anxiety.
I don't think it's stress nor it's anxiety. It's just that I think sometimes because I have so many things going on, it's kind of like I'm sleeping at night, but my body doesn't shut down. My body's just going, I gotta do this tomorrow, you gotta do that, don't forget this, don't forget that. And it's kind of like, the way I put it over is like it's a PowerPoint just going through my head, like, Jesus, just shut off. I tell myself, like, you know, I wish I would switch it, like, yeah, you know, but I don't. So I'm struggling with that, to be honest with you, David. But on my nutrition, I am doing a lot better. I would say it has forced me, because as you guys know, I mean, in this space, it's, you know, 30, maybe 45 minutes of intense exercise. You know, so you have to do your part as well in the kitchen. By nature, I'm not an eater. You know, I'm really not an eater. I don't eat a lot, and I don't eat a lot of the bad things. Definitely, I have no desire for fast food. If I tell you this, you won't believe it. I haven't had fast food for about 9 years. But I have a weakness. So again, it's not. I'm not perfect. No, the thing is, for me, is that, you know, I attend a lot of meetings, and a lot of those meetings come with drinks, right? So now, you know, I'm learning as we speak. You know, I gotta keep doing the right things to keep getting better. So one of the things I've given up totally now, like I've stopped drinking beer, because I realized, you know, I've told myself, like, hey, I can't put in this amount of work and then I'm just hurting myself on the other
Not
side.
reaping the results.
Yeah.
Benefits.
So I'm trying to, drink less and drink more of the healthier options, right? Should I say, which is tequila, right? So I'm just kind of sticking with that now, and club soda or coconut water, whatever the situation is, and that in itself has made me feel better too.
Yep.
Because with the beers, it's like I'll come here and
Like
I'll
corn.
I just feel
Yeah.
I just feel
I think that's
bloated.
one
I
of the-
feel like I
yeah.
days drink. I mean,
So it's not like you drink to get
wasted
plastered.
every day.
Yeah.
But still,
Just to get a little.
Like
2 or
casual.
3 drinks adds up,
So
Listen,
do you
I'm
think
cooking at
maybe
home at
that
night.
could
I have
be-
a couple glasses of wine, whatever.
Do you think maybe that could be something contributing to your sleep problem?
Drinking.
It might be. But like I said, it's not like I'm binge drinking. It's not like I'm having 10 drinks
No,
every day.
exactly, yeah.
I have a drink or 2, or I have a glass of wine or 2 glasses or whatever. But then comes Friday. Well, that's a different story. Right?
Friday is a plaster.
Yeah,
So-
Friday's all up.
With me, obviously being newer around you,
Yeah.
I don't know much about you. So
Yeah.
where you're from, how
Yeah.
you got started in the whole
Yeah.
starting your own businesses. Like,
Yeah.
I would obviously would like to get to know you more. So
Sure. So I am from Guyana, and
my neighbor's from
before you
Guyana.
think it's in Africa, it's actually
it's in South America.
it's actually the only English-speaking country in South America.
Well, I have some neighbors from
You do?
there. Yeah.
Yeah. So my journey, pretty much, I started out. So I went to university in Guyana. I actually studied computer science. So my bachelor's is in computer science. Never used it one day. Took a break away from. Took a break. It's true,
I
It's
feel
a
like it's
difficult.
most
It's a
cases,
difficult
yeah.
thing to tell the kids these days, but it's facts, Took a break away from doing my master's and went to work in the airport, and that was the end of that. I went to work in the airport at the age of 19 years old, fell in love with the environment, and just decided, you know what? Well, actually, let me backtrack. Before I did computer science, I wanted to be a pilot, and
Oh, I
then
see that.
yeah, and then some point I was like, I don't want to be a pilot anymore. I want to be an aircraft engineer. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be all greasy and messy every day. I don't want to deal with that either. So I'm going to do computer science. That was like, at that time, that was like the most popular thing and best thing to do, So I did that, and then I went to work in the airport before I did my master's, and I just fell in love with the environment. I mean, it's like the airport was where everybody wanted to be too, right? It wasn't an easy job to get, by the way. So I got it, and I went into the airport, fell in love with that, and then I started advancing all my studies along aviation. So I went out to do aircraft management, aircraft financing, leading airports, leading people, the whole package. So one thing led to the next. I got promoted, that happened. I moved into one position after the other, and then I left Guyana and I moved to St. Martin. And I held a managerial position at American Airlines there. And then I left from St. Martin and I went to the British Virgin Islands in another managerial position for a different airline. And then I left the British Virgin Islands and I went to Antigua. So I was
He's living in all the honeymoon places.
so I was moving
Wow.
around. I lived in Antigua for another 2 years. Then from Antigua, I was kind of between Trinidad, Barbados, and then I came here. That was in 2007. Came here, back in the airlines again. I was managing 3 different airports for Caribbean Airlines at the time. Then I moved into an executive role, and that position required me to be based in Trinidad. So go 360. Now I'm living here, I'm based in Trinidad. So every Monday, I'm on a plane to Trinidad, and every Friday or Saturday, I'm on a plane back to Florida. And
Crazy.
while I was doing that, I was managing 22 airports across different parts of the world, as far as London, and as far as south as Suriname, back in South America. So even when I was down in Trinidad, I probably had to be in some other place in New York or Toronto or here or there, whatever. So long story short is, that was great. I had a phenomenal time in the airline business. I achieved a lot of success. In fact, I was 1.5 promotions away from becoming a CEO, and that was huge to me because I became a director at the age of 24. And my goal really was to lead the airlines at the highest level, right? But then again, politics and the stress of tiring the body, going up and down, up and down. I woke up one morning and I told my wife, I said, I'm done. And she said, what do you mean? I said, this is the end of my 20-year career in the airline business. And she's like, are you serious? I was like, yeah. She's like, what are you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna start flipping houses. And she said, you crazy. You're gonna give up that job and that pay package and everything else. And I said yes, because there come a point in time where I can't keep chasing other people's dreams, right? And my dad said this to me at a very young age, because my dad was a successful businessman too. And he said to me, he's like, look, you're never going to achieve the level of success that you want financially working for somebody else. Today's notice, I left and I started flipping homes. That was going extremely well. And then I met Pedro, because he wanted to flip homes too. I'm like, hey, you do that. I actually was buying a funny story is I was actually going to rent Pedro's boy one of my houses, and I met Pedro during that transaction. And he's like, I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for a new car. He's like, I actually sell cars. He's like, okay, I'm going to Trinidad tomorrow. When I get back, I'll hit you up and I'll get a car from you. So I did, and we went out, we had a couple of drinks, and I bought the car I won, and then we kept in touch, and he's like, I want to do the real estate thing. I'm like, yeah, you do it already. Come on board. So he came on board, and we kept doing it. And then we met Iggy, who was my third business partner, and he said, hey, I want to join you guys on the real estate thing. And I'm like, all right, come on board, let's do it. So now the three of us are all locked in to do this. And just through conversation, we said to Iggy, Pedro, and myself, we'd been talking about Amazon and the fact that we wanted to get in the Amazon space and things like that. And we said, yo, we want to do Amazon. It's like, do you know anything about it? It's like, how can we get this going and whatnot? And he said, get out of here. I do Amazon. It's like, what do you do? And he's like, well, I build stores, I scale them, and I sell them, right? Which is a huge part of the Amazon space as well, because when you actually build a store to a certain point, you can sell it. It's an asset, right? And we're like, all right, let's take this away. So we came back, we had a little bit of a strategy session, and we came back and we said, hey, you know what? What if we get into a different line of business where we do everything for the client, we charge them up front, we do every single thing for them, make it purely passive, right? And we get into a business model where we manage hundreds or possibly thousands of stores, and we split on that profit at the end of the month. So rather than you building one asset, selling it, cashing out once, you actually have residual income coming in every time. And he's like, dude, that's a phenomenal idea. Let's do it. 1 month later, we started. And then we had, the other company that we have going on, which is a financial services company that does credit restoration. And now we're just about to become a mortgage lender as well. That line of business was going to start in June 1st. So for all of that put together, that's me in 3 minutes. I think that was more like 5, but that's me in 3 minutes.
That was good.
Yeah.
What does it take? What kind of mindset does it take to do that? To have going from a secure job, corporate world, to taking the risk, and what is your mindset? What are your values? What are your company values? Like, what do you guys rely on for that to take place?
Look, I think the safe haven is obviously a guaranteed paycheck at the end of every month. Yeah. But the truth is, you're never gonna know what you're capable of until you push those needles to the maximum, right? And like I said, going back to what my dad told me, I think in hindsight, there was an element of fear in me then, like, okay, you know what, I'm going to give up the shore. I know this is a sure way, because when you move on to be an entrepreneur, guess who pays you? It's you. So if you don't do things the right way and do them consistently, then you're perhaps not going to have a paycheck. No, it was not an easy decision, but it's one that you have to be calculative about. Right? It was time for me to move on and do my own thing. I didn't get to where I want to be, as I just mentioned to you guys, in the corporate side of things, but financially, I know I'd put myself in a position to say, hey, you know what, this is the time. And I'm doing that knowing in my back pocket that I got at least 6 to 9 months of reserves in the event that things doesn't go according to plan, because you never know what's going to happen. Right? It's a risk you're taking, and you just got to back yourself to be the best at what you do. And but I took it, and I was successful at it. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't always hunky-dory and a smooth ride all the way. Trust me, everything comes with challenges, and out of each challenge you just got to get better, right? You can't, because it's easy to go towards this too, and then you get into month 2, and then you're like, God damn, this shit is not for me, you turn back. But once you're in there, you got to keep going, right? So the mindset has got to be like mindset is something that's got to be embedded in you from early. You got to know where you want to go. You got to create a mindset. You got to create a roadmap for yourself to get there. And I think you also got to be calculative about your finances. And that has to be in line with when you make that decision. Because it's not something you can tell. A lot of people are like, I already know what I'm going to be a business owner. But they don't know what they want to do. They don't know how to do it. They have no money to do it. They don't know anyone to ask to do it. You know, so you put all these things together, it's like, you know, that's it. You know, speaking about core values, Carlos, well, you know this for me. Number one is integrity. I live by it, I'll die by it. And, you know, you have to, don't matter what, do the right thing every single freaking time, right? I can't say that word again, huh? Right? Do the right thing every time, man. Do the right thing every time. Don't do wrong by people because it's gonna come back to hurt you.
Yes.
Right?
Doing the right thing when no one's watching.
Integrity is everything. Integrity is every single thing, right? So for us, as I mentioned to you guys in the beginning, you know, that's our main cornerstone, right? Just being and maintaining the highest level of integrity and honesty in every single thing that you do. Number two, obviously we are extremely passionate about people. We really strive to be, you know, one of those Fortune 500 companies at the top of that list. That really, when people sit down, employees, that is, they should say, or we want them to say, hey, look what the opportunities they've created for me, right? Without that, people are your foundation, man. And if you can't see that up, every company is built bottom up. I don't know of one of them that's built top down. And if you start thinking that, you know, you're going to be built top down, then you're going to be, like I said, short-term success or immediate failure. So definitely people, integrity. Man, it's really all just tie back into integrity. I gotta tell you, because, and then I'll add mindset into that, because I'll go back to my days of being a customer service agent and making $3-4 an hour in the airport. And you know what? I remember the days of Christmas Eve nights and the New Year's Eve nights and all these other holidays that, you know, everybody had off. And I'm like, damn, but you know what? I said, my day is gonna come. I gotta do the right thing now. I'm gonna keep grinding. I'm gonna keep hustling. I'm gonna stay on track. And I know that ultimately the rewards are gonna be waiting for me. Sometimes it looks like, oh my God, I'm doing the right thing, and it's not happening. Keep doing the right fucking thing. I'm telling you, it is gonna pay off. Do the right thing, align yourself. This is important too, guys. Align yourselves. And again, I'm not a counselor, I'm not trying to preach, but align yourself with people with a mindset that is similar to yours or better.
Growth mindset.
Yeah, right? It is so important. You know, for me, when I was a little boy growing up and what's not, you know, if you didn't bring something to the table that I felt put me in a better space mentally, and this is not money we're talking about now, this is purely about looking up to people, like I want to be in this company and that one, because you know what, these are the principles, these are the guiding principles, that's how they live, that's how they've been successful and this and that. I didn't surround myself with otherwise, because you're going to have the other crowd that is going to drag you. You know, there's one set of force that just want to pull you, and there's a very small amount that's going to push you. And the reality is, as tough as this sounds, you got to leave some of them behind. And you got to separate yourself if you want to get to that next level. Because when you worry these forces and they don't want to see you go, and they just hold you down, some of them you got to say, listen, buddy, or listen, whomever. This is what I want to do for me, and this is how I'm going to get there. Are you on board or you're not on board? If you're not, I'm sorry, but this is how it's going to. I've had to do it. Right? Because some people... And never, you guys know this, man. Come on, the people just gonna be, the forces pulling you down. They don't want to see you get by. They want to see you get forward. And if you do, they gossip about it, they talk about it. You gotta leave them behind. You know who said this? Snoop. There's actually, check it on YouTube when you guys have a chance. And he talked about moving forward. And he's like, I try to help everybody in my community. But there come a point where I had to drop some people and leave them behind because they weren't willing to just go with me.
I saw the video.
You saw it, right? And it's really true.
Very true.
Yeah, if you don't separate yourself, then you're gonna find yourself staying in this pack like this, and then just stagnated. So that's it, Carlos.
Yeah, man, that is good
I
stuff.
said a lot there.
Yeah.
Dude, listen to me. This is gold. This
Wow.
podcast video should be paid for.
This is-
This should not be free. If
And
you
you are a
guys,
counselor. You're a good counselor.
Brought to you by Pistachio.
as a,
Great value.
Raquel, what would you want to ask him
I
as
honestly-
a young 19-year-old going to school?
Yes, because
Something
I am
you wanna
going to
learn from
school
him.
to be a doctor.
Good.
Um,
Congrats.
I do have a growth mindset. I do have a very success-driven mindset. I don't like. I know that failure and stuff does set in, and I
Yeah.
don't think failure should stop you from success. I kind of think that failure does help you succeed because you learn.
Failure is a part of success.
It's all a learning curve,
Yeah.
a learning process. But for you,
Mhm.
like, have you ever had a failure or something that like set you back so deep or so far down the line that you kind of, if it wasn't for your mindset, like how did you get through it? You know, like
Yeah.
if you have any tips on that? Because I feel like you're very good at that.
Yeah, so yes, I've had failures. I'll go back into the house flipping side of the business, right? Back to what I'm talking about, reserves and planning the things, but they don't work out the way you want. So when you go into the house flipping business, you technically want to be in and out of that in 3 months. That's kind of your window. I want to buy a property, I want to fix it, I want to sell it.
That's it.
Anything past that, you're starting to fail, right? So right up early in the game, I had 2 properties which I hadn't planned for, but stuff happened with the city and different things like that. One of them we ended up with for 13 months, and the other one 17 or 18 months or whatever the number was, right? That set me back financially because of course I'm planning this, I'm looking at my reserves, I'm looking at everything else, but then I said to myself, you know what, how am I going to get better, right? Each time failure comes before you, to me, at least what I have done, I've looked at it and said, okay, how can I turn this situation into a positive one? Because it's easy to look at it and say, you know what, I'm going to fold up and die. I'm back in corporate world. I'm going to be back in the plane flying every single week. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sit and I'm going to soul search and I'm going to think about ways as to how I can get better. So what did I do? I sat down and I redid my entire financial plan. I looked at my credit, which is something I can tell you guys about as well. And I said, okay, how am I going to leverage my credit over X amount of time for additional cash flow to keep these 2 properties going without going into my reserves? See what I mean? So right now I'm not going back into my back pocket because that is already set aside as my reserves. I'm not doing that. How am I going to leverage my credit to keep these 2 properties going while I still want to keep buying and flipping property while I got these 2 tied up? Wasn't an easy thing to do, but I did it. But my point is, that wasn't planned for. It could have easily been a massive failure because I could have turned back after trying to venture out in the entrepreneurial world and going back into the corporate world. But what I did is that I examined myself, I looked in the mirror and I said, okay, how am I going to turn this experience or this failure into a positive one? And that's exactly what I did. I leveraged it, I leveraged credit, did some refinancing, did some creative things, kept my reserve going, and everything worked out. No, it doesn't always happen that way, right? You know, but really it can. To me, it still depends on you when you're faced with that situation, what type of mindset you're gonna approach it with. If you approach it with a mindset that says, hey, you know what, this is the end of the world, oh my God, what's gonna happen, I'm gonna die, this is not gonna work out, that's what's gonna happen. Because your energy is feeding that. And if you feed it negatively, that's where you're gonna get back out of it. You said that, you know what, I'm gonna use this experience and I'm gonna turn it into a positive one, then that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna see, just by setting that mindset, things start to look clearer. It's almost like you wake up and there's just this sunrise. You know what, yeah, that's a good idea, and the ideas start coming and they start going. But again, it goes in line with who you're surrounding yourself with too. Because if you're all around negative, you're like, that's not gonna work, that's bullshit, quit, it's not gonna make any sense, quit. And everybody's telling you like, oh my God, I may as well just give up. But if you're around people that say, hey, this is part of the journey, understand that failure is a part of the roadmap to success. Understand that every time that failure is presented to you, look at it as an opportunity to be better.
To grow.
Understand every time that failure comes by, look at it as an opportunity to grow. You know, and if you start putting all these things together, things start getting clearer. Even now in the business, the businesses that we do, it's not all hunky-dory. We have challenges. We had challenges with the gym when we were starting up, but we got through them. Because, and that's another thing that I want to speak on real quick. Not to segue, but there's a lot of people who don't believe in partnerships and business partnerships. A lot of people say, I'm never going to get into a partnership because I'm going to get raped and this and that. I'm never, listen. Partnerships are the greatest thing ever when done with the right people. When done with the right people.
Like-minded people.
Because you don't know it all, I don't know it all, you don't know it all. You'll be surprised to know that in a moment, like I told Carlos the other day, I said, look, you came up with the idea of the whole PT training and what's not. I'm going to put a business spin on it. And next time it's Pedro and he says, hey, what would we do? I said, hey, that's an awesome idea and let's just fine tune it. Then it's me and we take turns doing that. But when it's you alone sometimes trying to just figure this all out and you're in your own space and then you got this energy like I told you which you should try to not have next to you, then all the things just start looking cloudy all over the place. But long story short, mindset, keep it positive, and use each experience to grow and be better. Whether positive or negative, that's it.
Thank you.
That's badass. That's a good closing statement. Where can people find your companies first? Then where can people find you personally? Like what's your Instagram? What's your
What's the app, bro?
what's the company? First the company. What's the company Instagram?
Company's Instagram, it's NextGen Investments. Company's website, I think everybody knows it. It's nextgen-investments.com. ScoreShieldFinancialGroup.com. And of course, my Instagram, it's E Browne with an E at the end _. So it's pretty simple.
What about the new adventure you guys are doing now? Where can we find that?
Good question. So you put me on the spot on that one, but I'm still gonna answer that. No, this is truly gonna be amazing for us as well. It's been a while, as I tell you, as I've been saying, we've been doing the house flipping, and we've gone 360 now to actually be on the lending side of the business. The reason that this is so exciting for us, by the way, this is starting up on June 1st. I'll give you guys more details as we go forward. Right now, we're just in the process of putting together a marketing plan and recruitment and getting the office done out and everything else, right? But the reason that this is so important for us from a strategic standpoint is one of the companies that we own today is actually into credit restoration. Now, there are two reasons why people come to a credit restoration. Well, two main reasons. Number one, they want to buy a car. Number two, they want to buy a house, right? And you'll be surprised to know the percentage of Americans with bad credit. It's an unbelievable number. And that's something that at a different time, we should talk about and invite Ray as well, who's our partner in that business, because the power of credit, I am telling you, credit has more power than cash in the US. And if you know how to maintain it and build it, it could really be a foundation for you to move on into the entrepreneurial world if that's something that you want to do. That's what I did. Back to my bad experience of leveraging my credit to keep these two houses that I had and different things like that. But no, not to segue, the mortgage lending business is going to be huge for us. We're going to have a big networking and marketing event coming up in a couple of weeks, if not about a month or two, where we're really going to go hard and just kind of put that out there. But keep that in mind for your friends and family who may be interested in that service. We're here to help. And the beautiful thing about us is that we've all had so much experience in working with these lenders that we know exactly what we want to do to be the best at it. And everything that we put our hands on, we endeavor to be the best at it, including this gym. And that's why I said to you that when I told Carlos we want to do 10 of these or 20 of these or whatever it is, he's like, I'm crazy. I said, no, I'm not. But, I want the brand to be out there, and the brand has to be built around the culture and the people. So.
Good stuff. Awesome stuff, bro. Well, thank you, Elton,
Awesome.
for
I have
everything.
questions now.
You're the man.
I have questions now.
What's your question?
I know
you
you
got?
have
I'm joking.
Use a mic.
You get to ask me questions on your podcast.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll have you guys on my podcast. We do